Good evening, Brooks and Christie here with Smoky Mountain Faith Food and Fun. Talking this evening about a serious issue that's come up that pertains to vloggers and, well, really anyone who goes to the national park, and not just the Great Smoky Mountains National Park where we are, but any national park. It has been decided in a recent court ruling stemming from a May 26, 2000 law that says you are no longer allowed to video inside the national park for, quote, commercial purposes. In other words, if you upload a video to a social media site, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, it doesn't matter. If there's potential for monetary value there, you are no longer allowed to do that without obtaining a permit from the national park. And you're also required, in addition to the permit, to carry a $1 million liability insurance policy, which is payable to the U.S. government. Not sure that many people can afford that. So anyway, this law was enacted May 26th of 2000. Public Law 106-206 directed the Secretaries of Interior and Agriculture to require a permit and establish a reasonable fee on federal lands under their respective jurisdictions. Now, there was a recent court case that I'm talking about is Price versus Barr. Filmmaker Gordon Price released a film called Crawford Road some time back. And some of these scenes that were shot in the movie were shot at the Yorktown battlefield, very historic battlefield. And park rangers actually came to Gordon Price's shop and sent him a citation and told him he was being fined. Once he released the film, it was noted that some of those scenes were shot at Yorktown, and he had not obtained a permit. Obviously, he didn't know about this permit, and the national park later dropped its case against Price, but he sued for violation of his First Amendment rights. Last year, a lower court concurred and overturned the Park Service rules. In the ruling last month, 2 of the 3 appellate court judges decided that some parts of national park might be considered public forums, but because filmmakers don't try to communicate with others at that site and at that time, they're not using the location as a forum, and therefore the First Amendment doesn't apply. So in other words, because we're taking you along on the video and you're not physically there with us, it's not a public forum, and therefore our First Amendment has not been violated. Now, the First Amendment, pretty simple. It prevents the government from making a law that regulates an establishment of religion, or that prohibits the free exercise of religion, or abridges the freedom of speech. So in this case, the National Park System is violating our First Amendment rights by acting as an agency of the federal government, requiring money in order to post where I want to speak. I proposed to Christy, my wife, up in Greenbrier, a section of the national park that my family helped settle. If I wanted to take you there now and show you how I proposed, where I proposed, all of that, I cannot do that without paying the federal government money first. That, by default, is a law that is regulating my freedom of speech. So they're already in violation of the First Amendment. That seems pretty clear. In other words, they made a law that regulates where I can speak, and therefore that's unconstitutional. We should be able to see that. And we don't need judges deciding this. Judges right now are the ones deciding this. So what I would urge you to do is I would urge you to write your senators, your Congress members, along with the Secretary of Interior, her name is Deb Haaland, and the White House. This needs to be overturned. It's a blatant overreach by government to restrict where we can record and speak. And I want to bring up some things here. For a government that's so worried about inclusion and equity today, this is so wrong. Think of those who hike and record trails that the elderly and disabled will never see with their own eyes. Clingman's Dome here in the national park, I used to be able to hike that trail. I'm not able to anymore. You don't think I would like to be able to see what others can see there? Some people live vicariously through these vlogs, and it's wonderful to get to see things you'll never get to see with your own eyes. But our government is essentially excluding these people by charging the taxpayers and fining them if they don't obtain a permit. So this is absurd. The other point of this that I want to make is that the park's going to lose revenue due to this. The park's going to lose revenue. How many people use social media platforms to research where they want to go? Some aren't going to go if they can't see what lies ahead of them. You want to know what's ahead of you when you travel. And without being able to see that, they're going to lose money. So they're shooting themselves in the foot. But on top of that, like I said, the most important thing here to remember is that they are violating our First Amendment rights here. The most interesting thing, and this is the thing that I want to bring up, this is the entire argument tonight, okay? News organizations and the media are exempt from permit requirements. Well, what do news organizations and the media do? They disseminate information. Well, guess what? When we present to you a vlog of where we are disseminating information. What's the difference? There is no difference. So why are we not exempt from those requirements as well? Just some food for thought here tonight. I would urge you to get out there, and I would say you could petition the White House directly. You can no longer do that through their website. The White House used to, in 2011, started a website. This was done under President Obama, actually. President Obama started a We the People petition website at whitehouse.gov. President Trump kept it on through his administration. The Biden administration, in all of their wisdom, decided to dissolve this, and so it is no longer up. That does not mean that we cannot petition them, and we should. The White House needs to be petitioned. Our lawmakers need to be petitioned. We need to get out there, because this is blatant government overreach, and we shouldn't stand for it. So good for Gordon Price for fighting this. I hope he continues to fight it. And anyone who just wants to get out there and just film what this wonderful world has, especially our beautiful national parks, which, by the way, we own, because the taxpayers are the ones who fund the national parks. It's de facto our property. Remember the song that says, "This land is your land, this land is my land"? Well, not according to the government anymore, and not according to the Secretary of the Interior. So, like I said, let's get out there, let's fight this, because this can't stand. Like I said, especially after COVID, we saw a lot of government overreach with COVID, and just trying to get back out there after the pandemic. If we don't stop this government from doing this stuff now, it's not going to end there. So if you want freedom of speech to be a real thing this day and age, help us fight this. We will post links to where you can write your senators and congressmen and women, and like I said, we need to be petitioning the White House and the Secretary of Interior as well. So God bless you all. Thank you so much for listening, and like I said, let's get it going. Until next time, we love y'all. Good night.